Hi everyone, welcome back to Canary Cast. Don't forget to like and subscribe the content we're putting out. If you haven't already, it does massively help us out. Me and Jacob are here. We're going to discuss the developing transfer rumour state surrounding Teemu Pukki because there's news from Turkey, Jacob.
Yeah, Besiktas interested, aren't they? Had informal, are we saying informal or formal chats with...
Exploratory chats.
Yes, good word that. It fits the bill, doesn't it? I think we said before, like, where would he go in terms of who would actually be interested in him? And I guess Turkey would be the most logical fit. That Besiktas themselves play European football and have a decent enough amount of money. Not going to splash the cash. I don't imagine a China. There's going to be no appeal there for him. I know obviously he's the biggest sportsman in Finland, but Finland's tiny, isn't it? But yeah, it would be a massive loss. I think. I think even though his season has been here and there, I know obviously he started like a house on fire. Everyone's thinking he's got the Ballon d'Or, but. Since then struggled, but still 11 goals this season. For me, you keep him, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, me too. The Finland manager, Markku Kanerva, has weighed in. He says he's already proved himself in the championship, doesn't need to do it again, which you can't really argue with.
Well, we did speak with Hodgie, didn't we, Stuart Hodge, about it. You can see that up in the description up there. Harvey will stick that in. And Hodgie said that he could be right there. In terms of he doesn't need to prove himself again. Will he have that? Does he need a fresh start from it all? Obviously, a lot of pressure has been on him at Norwich in terms of mentally, physically, every single game. It's up to him, really, isn't it, when he starts? I think up until, lockdown, before that, he'd never started on the bench for Norwich. It was either he'd started the game or was injured and missed the whole game completely. So, yeah, there's a massive over-reliance on him. And there probably will be again next season. I can see financially why he would go, but he must love it here. You know, he has been a bit of a journeyman, hasn't he? Obviously, he went Celtic, Brøndby, Schalke. You could list off a few Finnish teams as well. But for me, I would stay if I was him. I think you've got to go again and prove people wrong. Because for the first time, there's murmurs of, not criticism, but is he going to get back to his best, I think is the main question.
I think it's interesting the consensus around Teemu Pukki within the Norwich fan base at the minute because, I mean, for my money, he's one of the best players I've seen in a Norwich shirt. But there's people now saying, now it's the off-season, saying, well, cash in on him. You know, maybe his best days are behind him. And it's not just the random people. You know, some of the Pinken lads, Paddy Davitt, Connor Southwell, have all weighed in and said as much. Maybe the best days are behind him. What's your initial reaction to that? Because I think it's madness.
Short memories. How much did we buy him for? 0. Obviously, I know his wage will be a little bit higher because of that. But let's remember, we had no expectation from him, did we? I think when we saw it, there's no real pace. He has scored goals in Brøndby, but can he take it from that league to the Championship, the most ferocious league, competitive league in the world? With no one in their wildest dreams would have said he's going to score 29 goals in the Championship, 30 in all competitions. It would be madness. And again, like we keep saying, he's hit double figures in the Premier League. Like, you look at Crystal Palace, for example, their highest goal scorer is Jordan Ayew with 9. Yeah. So, in a poor team, I think without Pukki and Cantwell this year, we would have scored 9 goals in the Prem altogether, which is shocking, really, in 38 games. But for me, he's had to carry this team, and there's no reason in my mind that you should be cashing in on him unless he wants to go. Whereas I can understand if he's ready and wants to go again, then I fully believe, and Daniel Farke said it himself, that he's the man to bring or fire Norwich back to success.
41 goals in 2 seasons for any team is an outrageous record.
Oh,
really good at any level, really. I think
you're not even counting Finland there either. So he was top scorer for them in the European Championships. At least 8 goals off the top of my head. But so yeah, it's incredible stats.
I think he's been a brilliant player for Norwich. I think it is fair to say the last 6 months he has not been his usual self.
Yeah.
But I think you have to consider that this is a guy that's the main man for his club and very much his country. Mm-hmm. The mental pressure that comes with that. He's played an awful lot of games the last 2 years, not just for Norwich, for Finland too. They've had a long Euro campaign or qualification campaign. And I think after a while, the pressure of being the main man for 2 clubs, having to be on it constantly, it's taken its toll.
And let's, from a personal point of view, I know we don't look at footballers as humans, but they are. His wife's pregnant. Coronavirus has obviously hit everyone, and she had been in a different country. That could again play havoc on the mind. Surely your whole mind's not going to be on football. And again, the Euros has suspended, hasn't it? Obviously this year, that was his aim. Yeah. That was the carrot that was there for him. And you could maybe argue that now the season with Norwich, even before lockdown, looking likely to go down, was there enough of impetus for him to really go out and give everything, or not give everything, but you know what I mean? It's subconscious, isn't it? That there's not as much to play for. And to be fair, let's be honest, how many chances has he had post-lockdown? I know beforehand, I can remember Bournemouth off the top of my head, Tottenham, there were chances there. And I know in the recent game against Man City, again, he had a chance. I think his confidence now. He's still making the quality runs, though. You watch his play. If he wasn't making the runs, you'd begin to be worried, because then you'd question if he was a player. I think the Championship is the start of the Championship is a big moment for him, because if he gets a couple of goals, I think he'll be firing.
As you said, if he wants to go, then get him out. Fine.
Yeah, 100%.
But I actually don't. If he wants to stay, I don't actually think it's a very good time to sell him, because he's on the back of a poor run of form that, okay, with coronavirus has lasted sort of 6-7 months. And also, it'd be much better to sell him after he's bagged a few goals at the Euros, if that happens. Because the prices after international tournaments and players that have done well in them, it just go sky high.
And let's remember, coronavirus will impact every single club. And that's without doubt. So we don't obviously know yet. The transfer window has opened, but no big deals in terms of the world has happened yet. So we don't really know what that bar is at the moment.
No. And also, I think we've said he's had a poor second half of the season, but actually 11 goals and 3 assists is not bad for a return on your Premier League debut season.
Well, how many goals did Norwich scored? 26 out of the whole team.
We can't afford to sell him, surely.
Well, no.
We're too reliant on him.
100%. I completely agree with you, mate. That's so goals and assists, he scored over half of our goals and created. So there you go. Half of the goals from a team that's already struggling could lose creative players. For me, you need to keep him.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing we will talk about in this video is his strike partner, Josip Drmic, because we've had some pretty much breaking news as we're about to record this. Drmic has done an interview. Jacob's got the quotes from it. We'll go to him in a bit. It's interesting what he said, because he's almost sat on the fence, but it sounds a lot like a come and get me plea, to be honest.
Yeah, so talk about his time from this season and talk about when he's been playing. These are quotes, of course. It was very hard and very difficult. We were always the underdog and sat back most of the time with our parked bus. For a striker, it's the worst. You have little action in front of you and can't do what you can do best.
Well, park the bus is only really relevant to the second half of the season for me.
To be fair, when he's played, I can see where he's coming from there. But again, for me, his performances in this season since lockdown have been of a player who doesn't want to be here and is looking and angling for another move, in my opinion.
It's not even... I don't think it's fair to say that he hasn't had his chance, especially post-lockdown.
Well, yeah, and pre-lockdown, we went and watched the Tottenham game, didn't we, in the FA Cup, where he scored and was a big threat. Again, the following game against Sheffield United, again, putting himself about. Yeah. He's a poacher, so I can see what he means by not getting the service, and Norwich don't get enough bodies in the box. He's that kind of player, isn't he? He's not going to score from outside the box. He's going to, from a ricochet or a save, a parry, he's going to then score that. He's going to be in the right place at the right time, isn't he? But for me to say those words now, again, are they misquoted? Are they in English? He is interested in going back to Switzerland. For me, wages wise and what he's reportedly earning, Basel aside, is anyone really going to pay that? I'd be very surprised. So for me, it looks like he's angling for a move, in my opinion. I don't think Stuart Webber and Daniel Farke will like it, because they don't like players who try and rock the boat, do they? Look at Moritz Leitner, for example. For me, if he's in this kind of opinion and thought process, if he doesn't fancy the Championship, then again, get rid.
Yeah. Anyone, and that's the same for anyone who doesn't fancy it.
Just 100%, 100%. Yeah. Like if you need a strong mindset. One bad apple will cause the rest to go bad.
Yeah. So for my money, keep Teemu, ship out Drmic.
Yeah. No. Would there be any money you'd accept for Teemu? Well, at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, but it's going to have to be a lock, so we're going to have to buy someone who will score 20 goals in the Championship, and who cost a lot of money. And
let's be fair, like you've just said there, with the money we spend, we are not going to find anyone, in my opinion, on the same kind of wage in a what are we saying, 5 million max amount of bracket.
Let's not forget, Pukki and Drmic are the same transfer. They're free transfers we've taken a gamble on. One's worked brilliantly, one Hasn't.
In my opinion, though, Drmic could work in the Championship. I think he's got the attributes. I know it was pre-season, but Luton. Look at where Luton were. He scored a hat-trick. And again, they're all poachers finishes. If you get him in the right areas in a strong team, which we will probably dominate possession in a lot of games, he could score those goals. But if his mindset's not right, then yeah, do get rid. But yeah, like you say, exactly the same transfer realistically. Higher wages than transfer fee. Like you say, one's worked out currently and one hasn't.
Okay, great. Anything more to add?
No, just make
got
sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below what you think. Do we sell Teemu Pukki or do we not?
More videos like this are coming your way. We'll expect them over the course of the summer and into the new season. Thanks very much for listening. Like and subscribe, please. Enjoy the rest of your week.
See ya.